Are you sure?
I'm sure we're live.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode, I think 16. Maybe not. Don't quote me on this. So, guys, I got to catch a plane to North Carolina, teaching at a benefit seminar there. So, Phoenix Jiu-Jitsu in Hickory, about an hour outside of Charlotte. I want to keep it to 20 minutes. So the topic I want to address today, we haven't done in a while. We've covered some leg lock defenses, but I want to go over some of the more interesting entries that, you know, sort of if you look back a few years back, Ashi Garami was probably the primary entry into leg locks. It probably is no longer the number one, and if it is, it's not the runaway number one. It's probably not as prevalent because a lot of guys are starting to get good at defenses. Let's go over real quick the Ashi Garami because a lot of it's still sort of a very popular way to enter legs. So guys, when I feel somebody gets an Ashi Garami on me, the first thing I do is put my weight forward and I strip this foot. When I strip it, notice I'm doing thumb down because if I do this and I peel it off, you lose control. Now Enrique can just easily go into xguard, okay, and keep the attack going. So it's very important how you grip and what you do with it. I peel it and I push it away. Now Enrique has, so he does not have full go to xguard. Yeah, it's not that easy. And I can beat this now. Okay? So that's how I generally start to strip Ashi Garami. If I cannot. So if I kind of, Enriquez has got a really strong, I probably should have chosen a different technique. You know, this hurts my knee, but that's okay because I can suck it up. So as I'm stripping and I realize I cannot do it. Then I'm basically going to make him reap in a way that benefits me. How's this feel? Oh, this hurts? Really? So, basically, I don't let him decide the direction. I decided split second before he decides to follow in that direction. And that's huge. Like, if you got a, you know, fairly well-matched guys, the guy that sort of takes the initiative and initiates, unless he screws it up, will have a big benefit, big advantage. So, again, I try to strip, realize I cannot do it, I just force him into reap on terms that are beneficial to me where I can sit on that leg. And here I am. So, we've covered that in the past. If something that you want to know more about, go to those episodes. Now, let's look at a few others that are a little bit more prevalent today than probably 5-10 years ago. One of my, which one are we doing now?
KGuard.
Sure. One of my favorite entries is KGuard. So as the guy, so anytime, if they use sort of these unorthodox, they become orthodox now. What I want to do is lower my level and try to strip the leg. So again, the earlier you defend this, the better off you are. So lower your level. A lot of times I'm actually going to put my weight, and start to push his legs away. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. However, sometimes it's just too late and he gets a little deeper into the entry. So as this is happening, what I want to do is step. So make small steps. I might actually be in a better position to heel hook Enrique. So I'm actually keeping his heel where it is right now. But notice that I'm keeping a lot of weight on my right foot so he cannot sweep me. And at the same time, I'm sort of tripoding to make sure that I have a solid base. Some guys would actually, I can go into 50-50 from here. If Enrique cannot switch my foot to his right side, I'm going to be an advantage to attack the heel on his right leg. But I don't like to go into positions that are somewhat symmetrical or where if things go south for me or if I screw it up a little bit, I can suddenly be caught. So what I'd rather do is try to strip this and escape. So let's look at it again. So obviously I'd like to lower my level and intercept before it happens. Now, so what I'm going to try to do is keep my weight on that leg. So right now I cannot turn my foot, so I need to make sure that I maintain good balance. Of course, the guy is going to try to sweep you. Yeah. Make small steps, guys, unless you have no choice. Usually when you make that big step, so hold on one second. I can clear this right now, but let's assume that Enrique now starts to off balance me. If that happens, I have to make a big step. Notice that I slid, as I'm falling, I slid my hips away. The reason for that is so I can get my other foot into play and push out. So basically it's almost, I'm dealing with it in sort of lines of defense. The first line being, okay, I have good posture, I strip it before he even gets to start to off balance me. Second line of defense is to actually maintain my base, keep that foot heavy, and start to, move around small steps where I can strip away the grips that he's pursuing. If now I screw this up and I start to fall, especially backwards. If I'm going to fall, I generally prefer to go forwards. It's a little bit easier to sort of, because he's kind of going in a direction that he didn't anticipate, so it becomes a little bit easier for you to defend. But if Enrique starts to off balance me and I'm going to make a big step, meaning I start to fall hard, I need to try to get your hips away a little bit, so that way I can bring my other foot, the free foot, into play to start to strip his legs or push off it, because now you have very little time. There's an extreme danger now. By the way, neither one of these is from leg locks. They're both from different techniques, and probably decades of jiu-jitsu. So let's look at the KGuard again. So I start to, and here I should be able to strip, but even if I can strip, I'm free, and then I'm going to start to come down hard and usually try to get head and arm control. But if this Enrique off balances me, what I'm looking to do is move my hips away. Okay? Again, if he sticks to my leg, so hold on to it, this allowed me to basically bring that leg in and start to play a little bit better for me. I'm going to go through two more. Reverse del Riva entry, and then we're going to go false reap. And you guys start to pick the one that you want me to focus the most on. All right, so again, reverse del Riva is generally speaking, what I try to do is, if the guy is going into reverse del Riva, I put my hand on the floor for two reasons. One is to maintain my balance. And I want to prevent the guy from inverting underneath me. So anytime I want to lower my level and start to prevent the inversion. Okay? Now, so this, generally speaking, will stop it. If this happens, if I stop the guy, I will start to actually attack possibility of a triangle. So once I start to do this, usually the guy, if I could actually accomplish this, this is a thing of beauty. I don't have to. A lot of times guys let me pass the guard when they feel the possibility of a triangle coming on. So if I can stop them from inverting, this is the best. Obviously, that's very early stage defense. Now, if Enrique actually manages to invert, so he can always come back to attack this leg, but usually, no. So let's stay on this side. So, but I know he's going for this side leg. So what I'm going to try to do is throw my legs, but control either his head and arm, or at the very least the arm. All right? Now, I know Enrique is going to try, so I only managed to control his arm, which prevents him from inverting too easily. Doesn't prevent him from inverting completely, because now he can raise his butt. So I'm literally sitting on his hips. Now I'm going to try to get a cross face. Once I do, I'm going to start to put the weight forward. So let's look at it again. So if he starts to invert, I'm going to try. So I tried to get head and arm, but in this case, he inverted too far, so I can only stop the arm. As I'm sort of throwing my legs back, forcing him to need to invert deep. This stops him briefly, not enough. Once I get a cross face, then I can strip and move forward. So if the guy on the bottom does not do the entry properly, so a lot of times you can also counter with a leg lock of your own. Be it a heel hook, be it a knee bar. So that's another possibility. Again, one of the reasons why I will attack legs only when I can reduce the symmetry or possible symmetry significantly. This is not symmetrical, however. So it doesn't matter which way he turns. Oh, we're waiting for a full tap. Okay. I thought you were going to recognize the superiority of my position. Then the last one I want to go into full sweep, because that's become significantly popular, especially with guys, you know, that are flexible. Yeah, stretch yourself out. So with full sweep, what I tried to do is again, put the weight. You can see this is a better position for me than here. I start to lose it. So what I'm trying to do is keep my right foot on the floor to make sure that it does not come over his right leg. Go ahead. So you saw I was forced to make a big step. So basically, I make it difficult enough for the guy to come in where he starts to, rather than worry, you know, going in and doing a nice inversion, is to try to power that foot through. That's your chance to escape. So again, I will generally try to keep this foot here as much as I possibly can. Once it starts to happen and I start to lose it, prevent him. If he goes easy inversion, this I cannot, this is going to be much harder to defend. I'm already way too deep into this. So again, I try to prevent a clean inversion. So as he's doing this, I try to prevent a clean inversion. And as I know he's going to try to power through, as this is happening, what I'm going to do is point my toes outside and get my hips away in a way that now allows me to bring my left foot into play. I don't really care what I anchor myself on as long as I can get my knee line out. Once my knee line is out, I'm going after him. So with leg locks, it's a highly complicated part of the game. There's just so many possible entries. There's so many possible follow-ups. There's so many possible grips and so forth. So it's almost impossible. Even if I had 3 hours, I couldn't cover it all. But at least give you guys some ideas.
You need 8.
Huh?
You need 8.
So hopefully it gives you guys some idea what, you know, how to react, especially in the early stages of the attack. Now, as you know, live questions get priority, so start asking questions, guys. Went over like 4. And we're John, what do we got?
So the first one we got, good morning everybody, is Diego. He's got a partner he's training with that has an amputee below his knee and has really good leg entries. So he's struggling with finding grips or how to handle the leg entries.
I wouldn't go with 2 leg entries on him.
No, his opponent leg entries
defending
is really
the
good.
leg.
Okay.
Defense.
Yeah.
I guess put the grip on, I think.
Yeah, okay. Guys, that's, you know, this is a good area. So guys, the adaptive athletes to me is a big inspiration. You guys really should, you know, like people have seminars with like world-class athletes that do well in competition, but that aspect of the game might be very difficult for you to incorporate. Maybe their body type, and it sometimes amazes me, like, oh, I'm going to try to do that, and I admire the effort or the commitment, but it's going to be hard to duplicate. When people make adaptations because of handicap, it's really, really good, because these guys, I've seen guys that have amazing, I actually, the 5-finger guillotine I do from the bottom. So, Brian Freeman and Max Ulawa, they're two guys I actually had to do seminars at my school. That's the guys you want to kind of watch, listen to, because there's certain positions that they make work and they become very dangerous, even though you look at it as like, okay, I'm going to pass this guy's guard like nothing. Yeah, that may be the case, but good luck when you get on top. So with adaptive athletes, it becomes a little hard to actually specifically figure out what you could do. But one of the things that I tend to do also with leg locks, especially if the guy gets, let's go into saddle. Take my left leg, please, because it's bad. So let's assume I get caught really, really late. So, this is a pretty late, not that late. So guys, when you ask about this, okay, what is the difference? Well, what do we do here? We strip the grip, we turn our toes to the outside, and we slip. By then, your leg might be broken in 3 places. So, again, so anytime, so when I'm getting caught in a saddle, so maybe let's use that as a good example. So anytime I'm kind of late, you got to defend the break. Or is it hyperextension? I know there's some debate. There's not really a break. So what I'm looking to do is if I can get head and arm control. So right now it's going to be difficult because Enrique went too far. So I need to basically play that game, and I use my head. So sometimes if I can pull his hand, I need to use my head to keep it. Now you can see he's starting to get a bite, but now my bite forces him back the other direction. Again, I'd like to have my foot in play. Tap. But head and arm control is very, very important in jiu-jitsu in general. But that's sort of my late stage defense against, like, especially like once you're in saddle. This is. All right. So once I'm in saddle, that's pretty late stage defense. That's almost done. So anytime I see the guy, just pick an entry. Yeah. I'm already looking for the head and arm control. So go ahead, go into saddle. So the guy goes into saddle, but right now, he cannot take the heel. He cannot. So as long as I control his, so I cannot be lackadaisical about this. If he can get his arm back, you immediately almost pretty much caught. I think my knee brace stopped the escape. But you can see literally, what is this, half an inch? An inch? Literally stopped my escape. So basically, I'm pointing my toes. I could not get my leg in play fast enough. Maybe if I was sweaty and without the knee brace, I could have escaped. But I immediately go into sort of the Hail Mary escape, which is basically trying to get my knee lag. But usually, if you fail, you're done. But as soon as I feel the guy, I'm going head and arm control, and from here I can do arm. He cannot apply the heel hook. He needs the other. You don't necessarily need upper hand, the second hand. What you do need to do, so just go one hand. Yeah, he needs to be able to get his body to a position that he can do. One-handed you might be able to finish. So, are we? So the unraveling it just takes too long. By the time I do this, if I was really flexible, I might be able to escape. So this is what prevents him from attacking that heel. So from here, I also try to unravel his legs in a way that if I fail, I don't. So if Enrique rips out now, my foot is free. So I want to make sure that I put myself in a position where if this fails, so right now, I'm good. And that's a hard alarm, guys. I have to go catch a plane.
So no more questions today. Buy the DVD.
Can you hit the snooze on that? Do we have any last minute questions? Or do we have too many questions to even choose from?
Yeah, if you want another one.
So what do we got?
Einsberg, great to
Einsberg.
hear from you. If you're on top and you're dealing with your opponent in xguard, because this is pretty relevant, and the guy in xguard, your opponent has a boot scoop grip, and he decides to wrestle up.
I just think, you know, it's. You know, would you rather take a sweep or a leg lock? If he's intent on wrestling up, you know, then you got to keep him down if he doesn't have any leg lock game. If he basically has a leg lock game, you got to be careful because that's more dangerous. I'd rather be wrestled up and lose the 2 points than be caught in a leg lock. All right, guys, listen, I got to run. Let's reconvene next. Let's reconvene next week and. Share, like, subscribe. I hope the audio we tweaked it a little bit. Guys, I'm going to get 4 microphones, but it's going to take me a few weeks because we're testing the equipment right now to make sure that we wind up with the right equipment for this, but we are intent on making sure that the audio and video is perfect. We'll see you next week.